Right, so today we're back at the famous cottage, and what I'm trying to start doing now is basically to fence this thing off, close it off from the roadside. I have posts with me here in front of the 54, and I'm going to try to get reverse back as much as I can. Might be that terribly easy, to be honest with you, but I'm going to try my best and put a couple of heavy posts down to that pier, and then put a couple of hooks into this here and just pull the wire right around. Just plain ordinary electric wire. It won't be electrified, but it'll just be plain wire. It'll stop any cattle from taking a notion of running up that bank into the actual field above. This side here, because it's further back from the road, we'll fit the barbed wire that, and then we'll get a gate on here and get this whole thing closed up. So without talking about it anymore, let's get at it. Right, so we're back. It's actually the following day. Yesterday my battery was completely dead and I didn't get to capture any of the footage, and you know what, I was in a bit of a panic as well because school run was coming and I just wanted to get it done. So that's it, nothing exciting about it. 2 rows of plain high intensity wire. We tied it onto the pier there with 2 screw-in masonry hooks, very solid. We have our little gripples there if we need to tighten it. But that's it. I propped this post, I propped that post as well. I left it as strong as we could. Bit hard to get a post in there, very hard ground. Don't be deceived with the topsoil that's on it at the minute. The ground's very hard when you go down into it. Plenty of rocks and plenty of stones, but it's up, and that's that side complete. This side here, different story. It's further in off the road. We can barbed wire this. I might barbed wire to there and plain wire to here, because I'm going to run a fence from here right tight around that cottage and tight down the far side as well. I'm going to leave very little area around the cottage so the cattle will eat right tight up against the site itself, and then leave the rest of it just in a small little area that I don't have to do really much maintenance to, if you get me. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to stick this wire up and then we're going to put a gate here. That just fits lovely on there. I'll get a little plate now, a straight bit of plate and a U-clamp. I'll weld it all together and I'll make a lovely little latch for there. That's it on, that's the wiring done. I might put an extra row of wire there actually, but otherwise than that, that's perfect. I didn't want to bring barbed wire across there because it'd be ignorant looking up against the wall barbed wire, and we're going to be running our wire now from there up to that corner right around the house. So that's why I put a stay in here. Now it's a big heavy stay, yes. The only reason I use that is actually, you can see the bits of it up there, it's a broken post and half of it was still good, so we might as well reuse it, and that's why I put a heavy stay in there, and that's not going to pull anymore. So I'll go home, get a latch all welded up for that there, and get that job complete. There she is, bolted on, just an ordinary little plate, and you bolt on it, this guy over, and she goes, done. Alright, so the job at the road is now complete. That was filmed a few weeks ago actually, but we're now going to start patching up these windows. When I mean patching up, we're going to close up the windows, and to do that we're going to use perspex, because I don't want to board them up, because that'll leave the house dingy and dark and you'd never want to really ever go into it. With this here, it's going to seal it up, stop the weather from getting in, and it's also going to let a bit of light into the house, and that makes it all the more pleasant to work in. I'm going to have to put a bit of timber along the bottom here, just to support it on the bottom. Otherwise than that, we can just screw it directly onto the frames that are there, and then go in the inside and put a wee bit of timber across here just to support it on the bottom, and that'll hold them. That should keep them in place. Sorry if it's a wee bit dark here, we're in a bit of a shade from the sun and the GoPros aren't great in low light, but that is solid as ever going to be. And welcome back, by the way, into the inside. You haven't been in a while, but you can see the way that seals that up. We'll get a wee bit of expanding foam in places and touch it up, but no water will come through that, or wind. At least you can still see out. We have another one done. That's the very front one there finished. I had to put two over each other because these sheets of perspex were quite narrow. The only ones I could get at the time, and they were right beside me, so I wasn't going to travel further afield to get any more. This is a windy open spot, so I'm just going to put a cross member across there and then screw it from the other side, and that should hold the whole thing together. But that's that done. It's supported there now, solid as a rock, and it's supported. I just put that little by there just to hold that bottom lint into place, and that should be it. That'll keep that right. So the next thing I'm going to do is that one right there, because it's got a nice actual frame around it. I won't have to do too much work on it, so we'll do all the handy ones first. There, I'll screw that sheeting now to that. We'll need to put a support the whole way across here on every one of the windows. Just a wee bit of 2x3 or something like that. Just screw it down to the actual windowsill, and that'll really support the bottom of every window. But that's a big improvement. I'll remove all that out glass as well. I'll take all that out now carefully to make sure there's no sharp edges or anything, and just get rid of all that. And that's it. That'll leave that secure. That's all our front windows all finished now. Now my second youngest, she's 8 years of age, Elena, and we had a good laugh about it one evening. She said, everybody looks at it, says it's real dark walls, black windows, it just looks spooky, Daddy, and everybody's afraid of it. So she says to me, Daddy, do me a favour, will you paint it? We talked about it a good while, and you know what we might do? Yes, it is a bit damp looking with the green algae on the walls, so we might take the power washer over here and power wash the whole walls down and clean them up again. I wasn't going to bother. Look at, it's just superficial stuff. It's not going to make any difference to the house, but it might look a little bit more pleasing, I suppose. And we put spoutings and gutters and things on as well. Just a couple of cheap plastic gutter, and it'll keep the water from running down the walls and just tidy the whole thing up. And some of you might say, why would you bother with it, Adrian? And you wouldn't be too far wrong, but you know what? Water running down the walls isn't a great thing. It doesn't do any favours for a house like this, and it's not hard to put a wee bit of guttering up. It's only a very small little area, and it would make a big difference to stop that green coming on the walls. And we'll wash it down. And I said to the girls, I made a bet with them, in the spring summertime, if you want to paint it, use work away, because I'm not painting it myself. You can work away on it. So they said yep, they were over the moon about doing that, so they'll probably put a wee bit of white paint on it. What harm can it do? It's just only a bit of white paint. This little shed here, look, don't get me wrong, this little shed is rotten, but we will pull the whole ivy off it. I'll put some plastic sheeting along the side of it because it's bare timber. Look, I know loads of people's gonna say don't bother with it again. Yes, but understand, we're not making repairs, we're just trying to preserve what's here until we do decide what we want to do with it. So rather than pull the thing down now, because if we do, we'll have a bare mud wall on the inside. I'll show you in a second, and it'd be no time before that wall would fall. So it is actually serving a good enough purpose of protecting the wall of the house itself. Look an awful lot better from the road as well. I'm going to make a door for here. Just put a new frame around it and put a door in there and just latch it closed. In here, I know it looks terrible, but bear with me. I'll put a timber beam down there, prop the whole roof back up again, put a new cross member across here, a new one here, and that'll prop that whole roof, because the tin itself is actually good. It's just a hell of a weight of ivy laying on top of it. So we'll jack it up, give the roof back to the way it would have been. We'll clean all this floor out, and I'll bring over a couple of pallets, ordinary wooden pallets, and line the whole thing with plastic, and that'll close up the whole back of it. Another thing I'll do is I'll put a door on here. Again, I'll either find a door, and I doubt you'll find a door that size, but if I do, great. If not, I'll make a little door. I've made loads of doors before, and they're very easy made. Just a simple little timber door, and put it on there just to seal it from the outside elements of that shed out there. Otherwise, you can see it's still bright in here, which is great. Our Perspex was definitely the right choice. So thank you guys, by the way, that mentioned the Perspex, because it was the right way of doing it, and it's something I didn't think of immediately. So that window's all closed up as well. This window here is also sealed. Our side door is unsavable, completely wrecked. So I'm going to pull that down. We're going to pull out the frame, practically the whole frame. We're going to put a new frame in, and we're going to make a door and stick it on there, because that thing there is unfixable and we can really do nothing with it. We haven't had our chimney inspected yet. You can see it just up there to the hole in the roof. So that will have to be looked at. But that's just a matter of pulling the chimney down. There's no saving on that chimney. It's going to fall down. It's really a small little thing. So we'll take it down and just sheet over the opening, and that'll be that job easily fixed. So anyway, let's get this window sorted. Put a new bit of timber down here and across there, and Perspex this closed. Now I can use this little spot that would have been for the Belfast sink. Makes an excellent little workhorse. I'm down to scrap pieces, so this one is new, but it's a bit dirty. It just needs to be cleaned, that's all. But it isn't just big enough to go the whole way across, so we're going to have to cut a few bits and pieces. They are going to be a couple of joints, but it doesn't really matter. We might as well use up all the end pieces, because there's no point in going out and buying another sheet just to do 2 more windows when we have loads of little pieces that'll do the job. So I'm just going to slip this one under. There we go. I think we're right. Right, well I'm going to horse on onto this last window and get it done. I'm going to do it off camera because it's the same thing again. This one actually needs a bit of work done on the bottom, but quite a bit of work. So I'll get this done now off camera. We'll pick it up when I've finished. Right, there you are. The next thing I've done, I went in here and I put another sheet across here. Now this is our bad window. So behind there, if you can see, there's no wall. Now a lot of people are going to say, Adrian, that's not going to work. So the rain's going to come in, hit it and run down into the wall. You're 100% correct. But it will stop the wind from blowing into the house. What we need to do outside there now is we need to sheet the whole back wall and protect that exposed wall. That wall is going to fall, but we'll hopefully get to it before that. I'm going to take a little bit off this door to try to get this door to close with a plane that I have here somewhere sitting, and hopefully that'll make our door close again. We're not going to get too carried away, but I see there is towards the bottom. The top seems alright, so it seems to be from here downwards that we need to take off. So let's get that done now. Now you might notice I'm using this guy here, which is not really for walking on timber. It's an awkward thing. I hate actually wearing it, but you have to protect your eyes. My safety glasses that I brought over with me, I cannot find them. Guarantee as soon as you stop looking for them, you'll get them. But I've looked now for the past 15 minutes and I can't find them, so I'll have to use this instead. Yeah, a little bit more aggressive than that. Here to here. That's the first time that door has been closed, I'd say, in a long time. Rather than buying a latch to close it outside, I have the angle grinder with me, and I might be able to get that latch off and just put it on the outside. We'll see. Bingo! What do you think? Throw it there? Will that lock? Nope. That'll work. You know what? It looks like a dog's dinner, but it's solid and it'll keep the door closed, and that's all we want. We don't really have anything inside that's has to be protected against stealing, unless someone wants to come in and do a bit of plastering. They're welcome to do that. Done. All I need to do now is put a wee bit of wallpaper inside and ready to move in. Oh no, not quite yet. We have to sort something here. So I'll look about getting something just to go behind there and cover that, and then I'll get a sheet of plywood and sort that. It's starting to get dark now because later in the evening I have to go home now because I have a school run to do. But I'm glad to get the bit of work done that I did get done, and it just leaves everything a wee bit more watertight. We still have a hole there on the roof to sort out. We have our chimney to sort out. We have that little shed to sort out, and we have to cover that back wall with plastic just to protect it until next summer, and we'll decide then what we're going to do with it. In fact, what we're going to do with the whole thing. And I know there's a lot of you will want to know if I got any further about thinking about that, and the answer, to be honest, is no. I haven't had time to actually think about it. But come the springtime, I will get an architect out, or an engineer or whatever, and get them out and have a look at it. And they'll run their eye across it and give us a couple of ideas of what can be done. And it gives us time to decide what we want to do. But at the end of the day, we have a site there from one of my kids. It's nice to have it. Here we have a water mains pipe that we have to hook back up again. That end over there has to be hooked into this one, and then we're going to run a tap down and probably put a post down along the side of the house. If you're mixing a bit of cement or doing any work, you have a tap there to wash your feet or whatever. A few people did mention, Adrian, why didn't you tear that bank away back? Leave no water that it can get near the house. Sorry, is that late in your eyes? Is that better? No, it's in mine. And the reason I didn't do that is it was too wet. Up here was just, it rained notoriously when we started working on this site, and Jerry just said himself, no, this is going to turn into a real mud bath, so leave it till the springtime and it dries up. But don't worry, it is all going to be taken away. We're going to take off about 10 foot of that bankment back from the house. We're going to gravel the whole back street. We're going to gravel around the front. We're going to leave it that you can come up and basically drive around the house, and that'll make a big difference, because that has to be done. You couldn't leave it like that. With the wall, well, demolishing is the only thing you can do with that. But whatever we do to this house, one thing for sure is it'll have to be extended. It's way too small. For modern day living, it'll need a kitchen, it'll need a proper bathroom, it'll need probably another bedroom, definitely another bedroom, and that'll have to be extended somewhere. So it'll probably be either coming this way or going that way. But again, I have no plans. I'm just talking out loud here. You guys can share with me your thoughts, and I know a lot of people say, Adrian, bulldoze it down. But we're not doing that, and we're not going to make any hasty decisions until we figure out what is the best approach to it. A lot of people asked about this house, and a couple of people were very kind to look up maps and things and send me loads of information. It came back as a schoolhouse. On old maps, it's listed as a schoolhouse. But I was talking to a neighbour who would be part of a whole heritage group, and he's big into his history and he would know his stuff. He says no, it was a gatehouse for workers. I mentioned before, there was an estate over here, and quite a big estate, and this all belonged to the one man. There was, I don't know, many acres, but it runs a good distance, maybe 3 miles over there. Both sides of the road belong to the one person, and that's back a long time ago. But at the end of the road here, where we kind of are here now at the minute, this house sat as a gatehouse, and on the other end where it joins onto a main road about 3 miles over there, he said there was another one at the very other end of the road. So that was kind of the gatehouse into this full estate. I don't know, it's back a long time, but it does kind of make sense. This house is weird inside, because you have a small bedroom here that was built on, but without that bedroom, where would people have slept? Because you only had 2 rooms. So to me, it could make a lot of sense. It could have been just a place where people went in, light a fire and stay warm as they were working, or just to keep an eye out. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys that are watching who know more about that sort of stuff and know about gatehouses and estates and how they worked way back then. Probably talking mid 1800s, mid to late 1800s. Maybe you guys will know more, and if someone does, you're welcome to share it. But we will be finding out more and more as we go along. That's it. I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks very much for watching. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.